students, welcome you all to the course Bioprocess Engineering. We have been studying various topics that makes us to equip ourselves to work in bioprocess domain. Today, we will be getting introduced to another topic that is necessary to facilitate growth of organisms inside the reactor. We have been hearing tales from our childhood that lion is the king of jungle and will be dictating other animals to choose the prey. But if the situations makes the cub to grow in a different habitat, then the, the required characteristics of the lion will not be expressed and will be failing in its spread. Sugarcane is the aerial food crop that is being cultivated by farmers across the globe. But if the field is left unmonitored, then the yield will be drastically affected by the infestation of pests. So, the farmers will be continuously monitoring the growth of sugarcane and will be using suitable pesticides to control the sufficient measures will be taken by the farmer at right time to boost up the yield. Sugarcane is the aerial crop whose growth rate can be seen in the naked eye. But carrot is also a food crop but is grown beneath the soil. From the aerial growth of leaves, the farmers can predict the growth of tubers in the soil and provide suitable fertilizers to boost the growth of carrot. But if the field is left unmonitored, then the tuber growth will be retarded, wherein the growth rate of carrot can be predicted by the farmers and the yield from the field can be maximized by using suitable fertilizers and pesticides in the right time. But the microorganisms that are growing in the reactor cannot be seen under naked eye and is very difficult to monitor the progress of growth. These microorganisms are grown for both biomass and products. The products have to be purified and formulated to suit the customer needs. The organism that is being shown here is Penicillium chrysogenum, which is cultivated in the reactor at large scale for the production of penicillin tablet and also penicillin injections. The growth of mold is shown here. Silently observe the changes happening inside the conical flask. The same events will be happening inside the reactor. So these are the events that happens for a span of 8 days inside the bioreactor. So, can anyone tell what are the changes you have observed? These are the events that happens inside the reactor which is made up of stainless steel wherein the bioprocess engineers are not able to continuously see the growth pattern. Yes, inside the conical flask we are observed that changes in color, texture and viscosity occurs. But the conical flask has handled a small volume of 100 ml, but inside the reactors more than 1 ton of broth will be used. And also reproducibility is the key parameter in all bioprocess which affects the economy of the company. To have reproducible results, the physical, chemical, and biological characters should be quantifiable so that any person with the given strain can work in the plant. Controlling of process parameters in fermentation operation is one of the most crucial steps in successful operation of the fermenter since living organisms are a job in the fermenter, their ability in terms of their growth, multiplication, proliferation, and performance to bring out a certain biochemical conversion is dependent upon the environment in the bioreactor. The measurement and control of parameters can be done in online or offline. Online measurement is the method of measuring the process parameters within the proximity while the fermenter is working. As such, we are able to monitor the body temperature using the thermometer in this pandemic. Similarly, the bioreactors can be mounted with thermometers to monitor the temperature inside the reactor. But all the process parameters cannot be measured online. Then they will be measured offline, in which case the sample will be collected from the fermenter and analyzed separately. But the major drawback with offline control is that analysis can be made available after 2 to 24 hours. Since the results of analysis are available only after some time, the corrective measures cannot be implemented immediately. For example, if we are in fever, doctor will be asking us to go for blood tests, and the blood test reports will be available to us after a couple of days. But by that time, we give the report to the doctor, the number of cells inside the body would have increased, but the doctors will be predicting the amount of cultures that is present at the time of report submission, and they will be giving us the suitable medications. Similarly, the progress of the bioprocess will be monitored and the yield will be maximized. The measurement, monitoring, and controlling steps in a bioprocess involves basic components such as process parameter, measuring element, comparing with the set point, and corrective measures. And this controlling can be done by using suitable instruments coupled to the reactor. For example, the shaft power is monitored using a torsion dynamometer, liquid feed rate is monitored using a electromagnetic flow meter, and pressure is monitored using diaphragm gauge. Forms are detected by using suitable systems. Temperature is monitored using thermometer bulb. Impeller speed is monitored by using tachometer. pH of the reactor is measured using the reference electrode. The redox potential in the reactor is also measured using suitable reference electrodes. The dissolved oxygen concentration inside the reactor is measured using the polarographic electrodes. The turbidity is measured using spectrophotometer. Partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide inside the reactor can also be used using paramagnetic beads. The gas flow rate into and out of the reactor can be measured using rotameters and mass flow meters, wherein the controlling of the process can be done either by manually, automatically, and by using computer systems. In the case of manual control, the process parameter after its measurement is compared with the desired value, and depending upon whether the measured value is higher or lower than the set point, the corrective action is initiated until the measured value matches with the set value. For example, if the temperature is higher, the steam valve supplying steam is adjusted to reduce or stop the steam supply manually until the set point is reached. Thus, the manual control is subject to errors and delay in operation. It also depends upon the skill of the operator. The running costs are high for it, but the initial capital investment is very negligible. But whereas in the automatic control system, the controlling is done by an instrument. The automatic controlling systems are far better than the manual control systems since they avoid the human bias, error, and skill. For this purpose, the measuring device will be producing a signal or impulse. This will be compared with the set value in a loop. According to an output signal is generated which implements the controlling action. The thermocouple will be connected to a temperature controller which in turn generates some output which will operate the solenoid valve connected in the steam line to increase or decrease the temperature depending upon the set value. Whereas in the computer control systems, the speed of operation in the online control systems has been considerably improved. A large number of process parameters can be controlled from a single control room which is remotely placed and connected to the fermenter. Further advancements in the computer control systems is the use of biosensors, wherein suitable biosensors have been developed to monitor the rate of substrate conversion, product formation, and growth of the cells. Since the fermentation process proceeds with the help of microorganisms, it is very important to know how closely the environment in the reactor is controlled or monitored so that the living organisms find suitable atmosphere for bioconversion of the organic feed or biotransformations. So it is very essential to monitor the parameters such as temperature, pH, flow rate, dissolved oxygen inside the reactor. The physicochemical parameters that influence the growth of organisms and metabolic production can be broadly classified into critical parameters and non-critical parameters. The critical parameters are those which have a direct impact on the progress of fermentations. These parameters will be directly influencing the growth rate of the cells and also product formation. Some of the process parameters are: first comes the temperature. The microorganisms are able to grow and produce metabolites at optimum temperatures. The suitable temperature has to be provided into the reactor to facilitate metabolite production inside the reactor. Slight changes in temperature will be observed inside the reactor due to various exo and endothermic reactions occurring during product formation, wherein any change in temperature will be drastically affecting metabolite production. So, in order to maintain an uniform temperature inside the reactor, the temperature in the reactor has to be continuously monitored and should be controlled. Next comes the pH of the system. Owing to the production of various metabolites, the pH of the broth gets changed, but the organisms are able to grow and produce metabolites only at the optimum pH. So, wherein any change in pH of the broth has to be brought back by adding acid or base to the broth. Next comes the dissolved oxygen concentration. Each organism requires a critical oxygen concentration to be met inside a reactor, wherein the dissolved oxygen concentration has to be continuously monitored and airflow rate has to be increased, and the dissolved oxygen concentration inside a reactor has to be continuously monitored by using DO probes. Next comes the substrate flow rate. In the case of batch system, the medium will be fed into the reactor at the start of the process, and the bioprocess will be occurring for a span of time, and after which the products, unused substrate and biomass will be removed from the system. But in the case of fed batch and the continuous cultivation systems, the medium has to be added into the reactor in such a way that substrate inhibition and medium dilution are strictly avoided. And next comes the airflow rate. Air should be passed into the reactor to facilitate the growth of aerobic organisms, and this air has to be fed into the reactor in such a way that the dissolved oxygen concentration is maintained inside the reactor, and the organisms, when at the log phase, will be consuming more oxygen, and accordingly the air supply has to be provided into the reactor. And next comes the speed of agitator. The mass transfer rate inside a reactor is facilitated with the speed of agitator, wherein the speed of agitator has to be optimized in such a way that the entire reactor is completely mixed and also the cells are in comfort zone and no stress is imposed on the growing cells. And another important parameter to be considered is that if the bioreactor is used for cultivating filamentous organisms and organisms that produce mucilaginous substances, then the viscosity of the broth will be increased and accordingly the mass transfer rate will be decreased, wherein in those cases the speed of agitator has to be increased so as to provide completely mixed zone inside the reactor. Generally, the critical parameters are controlled online to avoid time delay by using automatic methods or by using computer control techniques. Next comes the non-critical parameters. These parameters need to be controlled, but the time delay in their controlling does not affect the progress of fermentation process drastically. They are pressure. Optimum pressure inside a reactor has to be continuously monitored, which can be further controlled by controlling the gas flow rate into and out of the system. And next comes the viscosity of the broth. The viscosity of the broth increases with the increase in mycelium production. The increase in viscosity will be affecting the mass transfer rate inside the reactor, wherein the mass transfer rate can be increased by increasing this agitator speed. And next comes the liquid level inside the reactor, wherein the liquid level in the fermenter alters due to some failures in the inlet feed systems, wherein the flow rate of the substrate can be vigorously monitored by maintaining the feed flow rate into the reactor can be strictly monitored and the liquid level can be maintained. And next comes the foam formation. Increase in foam formation in turn affects the mass transfer rate inside a reactor, wherein antifoaming agents should be added to the reactor to avoid the formation of foams, or else mechanical foam breakers can be installed inside the bioreactor so that any foam that is being formed will be broken off and the mass transfer rate can be increased. And next comes the outlet gas composition. The outlet gas from the reactor has to be continuously monitored in order to ensure that no toxic gases are being formed inside the reactor. So, in order to monitor the critical and non-critical parameters inside the reactor, various accessories are mounted onto the reactor. They are needed to measure and control the various processes inside the reactor. For example, temperature inside the reactor can be measured by using mercury thermometers and can be measured and controlled by using bimetallic thermometers, thermocouples, and thermistors. The pH of the reactor can be measured using pH meters and pH electrodes. The dissolved oxygen can be measured using dissolved oxygen analyzer, and pressure inside a reactor can be measured using Borden pressure gauge, whereas it can be measured and controlled by using pressure transducers. The speed of the agitator can be measured using torsion dynamometer or tachometer, and the liquid height inside a reactor can be measured using liquid level sensor and solenoid valves. Foam formation inside a reactor can be measured using foam sensors and can be controlled by adding antifoams and mechanical foam breakers. Feed flow inside a reactor can be measured using orifice meter and rotameter and venturimeter, whereas it can be controlled by using needle valve or solenoid valve. So far, in today's class, we have discussed the various parameters that affects the yield of a given bioprocess, and also we have studied the suitable systems that are being used to measure and control the typical bioprocess resulting in the production of various metabolites. Thank you.